Great. All right. All right. We're live. And yeah, since we're live streaming, that means during the breaks too. Technically.
I'm on what?
Since we're live streaming, that means that during the breaks.
Yeah, we're never off camera, is what he's
So don't pick my
letting you know. Well, or say anything that you don't want on the record.
All right. So that's
Okay.
the big camera's mine.
What?
The big camera's
Yeah,
ours.
we're just doing one. Yeah, we do one camera.
Cool.
The whole thing. It's
You got your headphones?
it's radio on video.
You have your headphones, right?
I have headphones here.
You want me on phones?
Yeah, please. That way you can hear everything.
That's that one. Test.
Okay, I'm not getting
Not getting
anything. I'm not hearing it. These headphones. I gotta grab headphones. Okay, we're up in 30. Let's hope these work. Okay.
rock and roll the cola wars. So you're gonna do a test? Cause I got nothing in my ear.
Welcome to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The Answer. Happy Monday to you. So happy to start the week here with Business and Culture Mondays. Here on the Peak, we seek to cover everything in town. How do we do that in an hour, 4 days a week? We don't. But we try. That is our objective, because we need media that covers everything. That's what the media is supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be telling the stories, highlighting what's good, calling out maybe what's not so good, being the media, shining a light on things so that you aren't being told what to think. No, I know we've gotten used to that, haven't we? The media is supposed to tell us what to think. And we've turned off our brains, and really we've turned off our lives, and we've abdicated so much. But I'm all for I want the information. I want to make decisions on my own, and I think you are too. You're listening to this radio station, you're listening to The Answer. You want answers so that you can live your life in a productive way for your family, for your business, for your community. And so we're seeking to be that. And there's a lot of media in this town, but I think that we could all do better. I'd like us to all do better. And so we started this Peak News as sort of an experiment in journalism. Can we do from the ground up, from grassroots, not the big top-down media that I think we've all gotten sick of, that definitely has a narrative, not other media in town that's doing their thing, and they all have their business designs, and they have a right to do that. But to say, we as a community want to come together and tell these stories. And so we invite you to be part of what the Peak is doing by going to thepeak.news, look under our citizen journalism area or our internship area, or maybe you want to be a guest. or a sponsor. We really love our sponsors. So if you're a local business and would love to sponsor us, we're completely sponsored by small local businesses in the area, which is really a powerful way to go because we've seen what happens when big business takes over media, right? We don't want that. That's been the bane of media, the control of media by the economic forces. And so what have we been doing since we launched in January? Well, we realized we say the quiet stuff out loud. Maybe because we're freer in that way, that we just have the ability to just, say what we want, but also to be really good journalists, and we're working through that. Doing real journalism is tough. It's hard to tell a story in a fair and balanced way. And I'm so happy to have sitting across from me today a friend of mine and someone who knows the media from a lot of different modalities, and that is Dirk Hobbs, who is what are you, Dirk? Let me, all this bio here that we have for you. You are the founder of Colorado Media Group, executive publisher of North Magazine, host of the Southern Colorado Business Forum and Digest radio program, heard here on this station, as well as many other things we're going to be finding about. So everyone, please welcome Dirk Hobbs to the Peak.
Thank you for having me.
Wait, is mic on? Mic up. Let's try this again.
Okay.
Okay, what do we got here?
I told you.
Oh, he grabbed the wrong, okay, sorry, Dirk. Grabbed the wrong one.
Testing.
There we go, Dirk Hobbs, ladies and gentlemen.
You'd think I'd know this a little better. How you doing, Hein? Thanks for having me.
Good,
brother.
thanks, Dirk. And Dirk is mostly known for, well, I think business. That you're talking to people about business all the time, and not just in Colorado Springs, but up and down the Front Range. And so what we're doing today is we're approaching 2025. As I asked Dirk, I could have brought him on our media day on Thursdays, but I wanted him to come on our business day. We'll have to bring him back for the media. But to talk about business in the Pikes Peak area as we head into 2025. We've had some bad reports of what it's like, doing business in Colorado. We'll get to that in the headline segment next, that Colorado dropped significantly in a new report regarding our economy. Some people blame, all of the regulatory, which limits businesses here. A lot of businesses went out of business during COVID, and so that was a real problem. But Dirk has a unique perspective because he comes at it from someone who publishes and works with businesses all the time. And so I thought it was great to bring him on and have him give us his perspective of our region, hyper-local, as we always do. What is your business outlook here in Colorado Springs? How are you feeling with the elections just happening and what that may mean for us? A new legislative session is about to start up under the Gold Dome. That's a little scary for businesses. So when we come back, we're going to be saying the quiet stuff out loud about local businesses here in the Pikes Peak area with Dirk Hobbs. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman, and we'll be right back with the Peak.
Boom.
Okay.
All right, now that I got the right microphone.
Okay, sorry about that. I did slide that one over and then I didn't notice. Okay, it's live radio, It is what it is.
Hey.
Okay, let me grab my script and start filling stuff in. And mention my sponsors. Okay, let's see here. We got the drop-in ranking.
Spacecom.
We got the space. I thought, second, is that what we're doing second? Yeah, Spacecom.
And then SwissPod.
And SwissPod. Okay, cool. Okay, number 3, we're doing workforce readiness. Okay. And background. So do you want to head this in an advertising direction? I mean, I haven't really talked about that with people, like coming at things from a...
Well, how to use media,
Okay.
to your advantage. Programs like this, mine, yours, other networks, other outlets, yeah. I mean, we
Okay.
can. I mean, it's totally.
Well, it's just, I don't, this isn't like, I don't hold to it by law, but I
Right.
generally like, it's
Yeah.
more business centric and more media centric.
Mhm.
So I think that if we put it into the sort of advertising and PR, and then bring it into media that way, or what do you think?
I would say just how to utilize media to your
Okay.
advantage
As a business?
as a business.
Okay, okay.
Because there's different kinds. I mean, there's the branding effort, and then there's the positioning effort. There's a lot of different angles.
Okay. Okay. So I want to do more, I think, and then we'll finish. Let's do more of the promotion. I'm gonna front load this in the authority. I want you to talk about your different businesses, your background,
Sure.
and all that. Then let's get into challenges. Let's get into using media, and then let's get into sort of the business outlook. Okay. Okay, and the website to send people to? What
Say
site
that?
do you- What website do you want to?
ColoradoMediaGroup.com.
Okay, and which we never got to, the number 5 segment where we have a chance for another mini interview. Is there something specifically to talk about there? Launching businesses, working with businesses working together. I mean, is there something people can get their teeth into? Patronizing local businesses?
Yeah, certainly shop local.
You want to do a shop local because we got holidays going on? Shop local for the holidays?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have some things we're back in 30 seconds. Just talking about what that means for local businesses, if you have, why is it important, keeping money in the local economy
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
all that stuff, okay. So I'll call it Shop Local for the holidays.
Shop local always.
Okay. For the holidays and always.
How do you, are all these advertisers paying?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer. And Dirk was asking me during the break, during the commercials, are these all paid sponsors? Yes, they are. And we not the ones, obviously the internal ones for us,
Sure,
and the
sure.
Peak Foundation and stuff like that. But yes, we are supported by local businesses who have come alongside this, even though we're a startup. We just started in January. Local businesses that have decided, you know what, we need to have this kind of journalism. We need to be talking about these things, and the overall media, and I'm being very careful because Dirk is here. I'm like, because I'm always criticizing the media because we're the David of the Goliaths. But Dirk does a specialty thing. I'm talking about the media that's supposed to be covering all the news all the time, and that they're not, and that we need that in our society here in our community. And we invite you to become part of that as a citizen journalist. What does that mean? Well, you have a passion for telling a story. Come on down here, go on our website. Every couple of weeks we're having meetings on Zoom and virtually with citizen journalists. We're assigning them stories, and then guess what? They're working on stories that they can bring here on the air, and we're building out our website for that too. Think about that. We're inviting you to cover the region. Just think what would happen if we had 50 or 100 local people covering our area. Think of the stories we could tell, all those juicy things that aren't being told, that bring transparency and accountability to our community, which tightens everybody up. And that's really important because we all know that when we get lazy, we all know that when we're not being watched over, when we're not being held accountable, and especially people in government, that's so important, and we're trying to do that. So go on the peak.news and learn more about us. Well, this is our headline segment, and we're covering business headlines today and things that our guest, I always sit down with the guest before and I say, what are some news items that you're interested in, but I don't usually sit down with someone who's publishing news items. So he came up with some things that we'll get to in a moment. But the one that we can't ignore is Colorado's economic growth fell from 5th in the nation to 41st, according to a new report. Two new reports are shedding light on the state of Colorado. University of Colorado Leeds School of Business released its 60th annual Colorado Business Economic Outlook about a week ago. While it shows Colorado's economy is still growing, it's doing so at a slower pace, and we've dropped in the rankings. Now, we know that these numbers somewhat arbitrary based on the different types of data and how, but whatever it was last year to this year, dropping from 5 to 41st, is somewhat alarming. What do you make of it, Dirk? Are you alarmed by it, and why do you think it is?
I'm not alarmed. I'm validated. Let's put it that way. So, over the last 24 to 36 months, Colorado, the state of Colorado, has undergone an unprecedented amount of development and recruitment of new companies to the region. So new employers or employers that have expanded their core competencies significantly. And even entire economic sectors that have grown, almost outpaced our workforce. So think of the big three in Colorado Springs being aerospace and defense, cybersecurity, and advanced manufacturing. And then you have other economic sectors. You got hospitality, you got healthcare and health and wellness, and you've got travel and tourism, you've got the sports economy and so forth. So those things, those have evolved tremendously within especially the last 24 months. And right now there's an indication that almost any given employer, 1 in 4 positions of any given employer are available. They're open. They're looking for a workforce. So they're not at 100% efficiency or output yet. And I think that's where a lot of the statistical decline, if you will, and it's something of an anomaly as our population, our workforce become trained and more geared towards these economic sectors.
So you think it's a dip before the rise?
I do. I think we'll bounce back. Especially in mid to late 2025, I think you're going to start to see that 41st number shrink considerably because there's a lot of employers here that have really dug in with job opportunities that revolve around Space Command and other DoD sectors and the whole Space Force in general, as well as becoming an ecosystem for cybersecurity and advanced manufacturing.
Well, and let's move into that. That was our next headline regarding Space Command. And now, this situation, I think the one thing, that conservatives and Republicans in our area maybe don't like about Donald Trump is that he was seeking to move Space Command to Alabama. And that was that whole battle. And we didn't know how serious it was. This to be against Joe Biden. We didn't know, 4 years ago when this was going on. But now that, in a short time, Trump is back, what is the situation that you're seeing as you're talking to people and trying to hold on to Space Command here, and how important is it that we hold on to Space Command here?
Well, I think it's $400 million annually important to hold on to Space Command because you have at least that from Space Command itself, which is about 1,700 jobs. And then you've got kind of the nebulous ecosystem that surrounds Spacecom that supports them in some different way or supports one aspect of it, whether it's Delta 15 or whatever it is. So, we have concentrated on these 3 ecosystems, Chaim, where we have invested a tremendous amount of infrastructure, both cyber capabilities. I mean, we've got huge capacity for cyber and a workforce that we're retooling as we speak in the K through 12 realm as well as the collegiate realm. So UCCS, Air Force Academy, Pikes Peak State College, Colorado College, they're all hands on deck trying to engineer this workforce so that they're ready for these next generation jobs. Because as of now, I mean, if you took a snapshot right now or the previous 5 years, they weren't prepared for this. Those kids were coming out of Cal Poly, MIT, and other, information and technology schools. Now we're forced to do it, and we're forced to do it starting I heard one administrator say, if you're talking about STEM or if you're talking about the workforce of tomorrow at 9th grade, you're way too late. You need to be talking about that at the K through 5 level and start exposing them to new and interesting opportunities.
So is this part of the argument of keeping it here that Alabama maybe
Well,
has not,
you know,
geared up for these type of jobs locally?
I think but I think Trump is a more reasonable character this time around, where he was more rambunctious before and just arbitrarily sometimes made decisions or based on emotion. I think we're dealing with a different Trump,
More pragmatic?
more pragmatic. And I think the fact, you can't just unplug Spacecom, put it in a U-Haul and transport it across the country and plug it back in. There's a lot of vulnerabilities that come with that. And I think the military leadership as well as community leadership are starting to really get their message more solid, more pragmatic, if you will, to let the president know that this may not be the most efficient or effective way to do this. And I know that before, General Mitchell kind of slow walked it before. So.
Okay, well, we'll have to get, new Congressman Jeff Crank. Hey, we have less than a minute left.
Yeah.
Tell us about this Swiss pod
Okay.
down until through the music.
Absolutely, I got to tell you, SwissPod. So this is a Hyperloop technology.
This is happening down in Pueblo.
This is happening down at the Chemical Depot in Pueblo, and I got to tell you, folks, this is the largest Hyperloop being constructed in the world.
And what is a Hyperloop?
So a Hyperloop is an encapsulated tube that magnetically propels these little trains inside this tube, and those trains carry merchandise, product, and from A to B. And they are proposing to get a package, just for example, from Pueblo to DIA in less than a half an hour.
Okay.
That's pretty sexy.
And so this is a new technology. It's being tested down there now.
That's correct. So
Okay.
they've got a beta site in Switzerland, and this is the first U.S. domicile.
Okay, well, you can check that out. Go, Google SwissPod and learn more about it. You're listening to The Peak on AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The Answer. We have Dirk Hobbs, founder of Colorado Media Group, executive publisher of North Magazine, and more when we come back. Workforce readiness. My timer is low.
Can we quote that on social media as a Hyperloop being sexy?
What'd you say?
He said it's the Hyperloop sexy. Okay.
Getting a package from Pueblo to Denver in 30 minutes is pretty sexy.
Okay, so, we're on segment 3.
Yep.
So this is going to be your 4 minutes on workforce readiness?
Yep.
Okay,
And
and
that's,
so I'll give you time cues and...
yep, just 1 in 30, and I'll button it up. Just 1 in 30,
Oh, that's it?
1
You
in
just
30.
1 in 30, you just want to flow
Yeah,
till then?
and
Okay.
I can button it up.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Is this going the way you want?
Yeah, I'm just, I do this 4 days a week, so I fall into a pattern, and that thing I'm just a little resetting. I don't realize how much I'm in the pattern until the pattern is a little broken.
Oh, with the computer.
Yeah, just with the computer and not having my stuff and just my routine. Sort of like a pitcher,
I got you.
I do. And,
Well, we got it now.
but I'm good, I'm a talker, I just go.
We're in the groove.
But, yeah. And you're the right guest for winging a show, because you do it all the time. A lot of people are very nervous, coming in, as you know, and and so I do the hand holding stuff to get them comfortable and bring stuff out. And people like doing the show because it's fun and it's quirky and it's got all these little bits, and it's not just this standard interview. It's got
I like the breakout.
it's got these fun things. It goes by quick, and yeah.
So these advertisers, do you bill them monthly? How do you do this?
Yeah, some pay quarterly, some
Quarterly.
are monthly. I've actually had a thing where I gave a percentage off if they paid for the year, because we were a startup. So,
Smart.
so some of them did. And most of the money goes to sound. And I'm
Okay.
trying to figure out how to pay me and build out the rest of the thing, but we've been able to do that. And I'm still looking for more. I still have I'm doubling up on commercial. I still have about 5 minutes that I need to sell, but I was in sales here. I wasn't really motivated or good at it. Now I go out and do it to keep the show alive, but I'm looking for more sponsors to bring us to where we're fully funded and have the money we need to.
So what do they get, like 4 commercials during your show, or?
No, they get a commercial in each show of different lengths. It depends on the different level of sponsor. I can give you a packet to show you what we're doing. And there's a level of social media and stuff we're doing it, but most of them, we're back in 20. Most of them are, no, I guess 45. Most of them, realize we're a startup and they want to support what we're doing because they recognize that this is really important. And I know whatever you might be thinking about the Emmy story, but I'll let you know we're getting really deep. We're getting whistleblowers calling it. We're having people call it. We're having to sort through, what's crap and what's people,
There's a lot of crap out there.
But we're doing real journalism. Like we're doing some hardcore stuff. We're getting calls from people that don't have to be anonymous. Like this story's deeper than it is, but we're trying to walk. Yeah, we're trying to walk slowly up the middle and win either way because we're the media. Is he innocent? Is he guilty? Whatever. Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The answer, no, we're not here to lie to you. That's what we've become used to in the media, right? It's what, it's a narrative we don't know to, trust in the media has fallen to such a low point that it's really embarrassing. And we're trying to bring it back here because if we can't trust the information, what are we to do? And that's why a lot of people have checked out. But one area, one sector of our society that needs good data more than anything else is business. You have to have good data for business. And Dirk Hobbs, who is the founder of Colorado Media Group, executive publisher of North Magazine, and host of the Southern Colorado Business Forum and Digest, is committed to cover business in our area and give good data. And I asked him in this section, we give sort of a soapbox, an editorial space for our guests. And Dirk says he wants to talk about workforce readiness. Dirk Hobbs.
Workforce readiness is, there's multiple facets of it. You have to have a workforce that can depend on the infrastructure they need so they can go to work. One of the shortfalls we have in this community is age 0 through 5 child care access. Because right now in El Paso and Teller County, there's approximately 48,000 children under the age of 5. Okay, half of those do not have access or a place to go for child care, thereby leaving one parent on the sidelines at home to take care of the children or working from home or some hybrid situation. But their productivity is lower. There's no question about it. So we have a child care access challenge. And right now there's people out there like Sherry Lynn Boyles, Margaret Sabin, and other leaders in the community who are all coming together. And they're building a conversation around material solutions to help people find access to child care. It used to be access to health care. Now it's access to child care because they don't feel they can leave the child, either with parents or friends or a neighbor or things like that. They want bona fide certified child care. So about half of those, that 48,000, needs access to child care. That's a big deal. And we're leaving a lot of workforce on the sidelines because they have to make that difficult choice. The next thing would be this K through 12 discussion that's happening throughout the community. So we've seen the emergence of STEM schools come up. Vance Brown and D11, the superintendent over there, doing extraordinary things. Michael Gall, that's it, thank you. They're doing extraordinary things with STEM programs, and they've already started a school that will be dedicated to aerospace and defense. And these kids are going to get firsthand knowledge. So instead of a teacher up there who's never grabbed a wrench in his or her life talking about the importance of understanding nuances in mechanical engineering, you actually have a NASA engineer or a pilot, a shuttle pilot, an Air Force pilot, or an airline pilot at the very minimum, telling you why you need to crank the wrench so hard, or this is what this whole construct of an engine does. That gets kids more excited, right? Now they're actually touching and feeling and experimenting with the thing they think they like, But now, they actually can determine whether or not they like it or not. So the next thing is really just, again, I think I mentioned it in your earlier segment. If you are having the discussion around workforce readiness at the 9th grade and you're not preparing students, you're late. You're late to the conversation. This conversation really needs to be geared around the enterprises and business opportunities that are presenting. Now, some are traditional, Heim. You got hospitality, you've got retail, you've got things like that that are not going to change dramatically over the next few, years. But then you have cybersecurity, advanced manufacturing, and aerospace. Those are changing significantly, and those kids need to be introduced into those forms sooner than later.
What sectors are you seeing that are making the most advancement here in our?
Right
in our
now,
community?
in this community, cybersecurity and advanced manufacturing, by far. So those companies are emerging. They're also splitting out of existing companies, so they're creating new startups and second stage companies, and it's a big deal.
And is that because the people that are starting the businesses are here, or the businesses are coming here because the people are trained up?
Well, the latter first, and then the secondary answer to that is they're starting to spin out of those.
Okay. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. This is Business and Culture Day. We're here with Dirk Hobbs, founder of Colorado Media Group. When we come back, we're going to talk about proper advertising and media for your business. Okay. Wow, just got that in. Cool. Excellent. Okay, so we're on page 4, so give your background, including talk about all your different businesses there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll come out, we'll talk about challenges, then we'll go into how to use the media, and then we'll do a business outlook.
Sounds good.
Business outlook, okay.
BB.
Cool. This is a short commercial, it's just a short break, it's just 2 minutes
Okay.
at the bottom of the hour.
So who's on either side of you?
What?
Who's on either side of this program?
We have Sebastian Gorka, who might be going away. 'Cause
Might
he's
be going
short.
away.
I think they're bringing Hugh Hewitt up
Good.
to fill his spot, and then Larry Elder. I throw to Larry Elder.
Oh, Larry. Yeah.
So I'm in. It's really. I mean, you have the spot on Friday. It's a good spot.
It's a sweet
I
spot.
think it's good. What I like about it is, maybe an hour later would have been, more in the drive time, but then in the winter time when we dropped to low power, the last half hour of the show this time of year would not be heard as far.
Is that right?
So I picked, at sunset we dropped to half, or 10%
Yeah.
from 5 kilowatts to half a kilowatt. So when I was looking at it, I was like, okay, 6 weeks out of the year, the sun is going to, if I'm on from 4 to 5, the sun's going to set, during my program, and people that might be listening to it driving back to
Fizzle out.
Denver, whatever. So that's why I picked it. I said year round where we have the full signal.
So 5
During the
kilowatt
show.
is the signal during prime time.
Yeah, so it reaches close to. Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to AM 1460 and FM 101.1 The Answer. I also should mention we do stream on Facebook. You can go to Facebook if you want to see what we look like. It's really radio on video is what I call it. But you know what? You can see us. That's the the Peak News Media on Facebook, and also the Peak News on YouTube. And we invite you to go to our website, thepeak.news, for everything The Peak, including, we've been following this story, this hate crime hoax story that has Mayor Yemi entwined in it, our Colorado Springs mayor, and we're putting a lot of data up there, reports from us, reports from other people, so that you can get information and make a decision. So go out and check out that special investigative page there. And a shout out, I'm a little congested today, sorry about that. I keep clearing my throat. Sorry if I'm doing that in your ear. A shout out to one of our gold sponsors, Home Comfort Heating and Air. They do our HVAC. Vern's a good friend of mine, lives close to me out on the eastern side of town. And Home Comfort Heating and Air, if it's not okay, you don't pay. And we invite you to patronize all of our sponsors. You can hear their commercials here on air. You can go on our website and there are hot links to all of them. They're the ones providing this to you. So thank them by patronizing their businesses. So many of them I patronize. They're just friends of mine, local community, and Dirk knows that. It's what's great about doing things on the local level. These aren't just advertisers, they're our friends and our neighbors. So in this segment, wanted to learn more about Dirk and his background in the Colorado Media Group. And Dirk is an expert in media and using media in proper ways. And so during this segment, he's going to suggest to you, if you're a business owner, I guess if you're promoting anything, but specifically if you're a business owner, good ways to use media and advertising. And we're going to finish with a local business outlook. So Dirk, what's your background? How'd you get into this business, media business, crazy media business?
I'm actually a marketing executive by trade. So I look at everything we do through a lens of marketing. So I've been a chief marketing officer 3 times in my career. I was bitten by the media bug when I had a job in NASCAR. So I actually, I was working for 2 motorsports programs, and seeing the power of media done well is really something to behold. And I'll tell anybody going for an MBA in marketing, skip it. Go work for NASCAR for a half an hour, and you'll learn more about media, CP value, how to position your product, all that good stuff, than you will probably in your MBA program, because that is immersion into how customers engage with a particular brand. So it's a big deal, and they've mastered it. So I got that bug, and then really just started publishing. I started publishing medical journals and medical business publications, because I took a great deal of interest and empathy on the physician community throughout the state of Colorado. And we actually lobbied for them. We supported them in ways through the written word and through subject matter experts to help them navigate the new landscape that they were facing. This was a very complicated area, because physicians go to school to be physicians. They don't go to school necessarily to be business operators. And this is where a lot of them get taken advantage of, and they find themselves very vulnerable to everything from legislation to picking a CPA, right, and how to do that. So we had a very successful run with a product called MD News and Healthy Colorado. Then took a short break and really looked at the media landscape in Southeast Colorado, and I recognized, Chaim, that we were just really underserving, underrepresenting our region through our bigger channels, through the television cycles, through our newspapers, and some of our other print publications. And I thought, gosh, if they only knew what we know as people who live, work, and play here, if other people around the country knew, then they could see what is actually going on here. And we weren't really representing that well. So we took it into our hands to do it.
And now you have publishing, you have radio, TV, social media, all of it.
That's right. We've integrated the mediums, because you and I may consume our news in one way, whereas our junior counterparts consume it in a different way. Our senior counterparts consume it in yet another way. And so we're meeting people where they are.
So from your perspective, what are the biggest challenges that we have here in the Pikes Peak region regarding operating businesses, keeping them healthy?
Well, what's interesting is Colorado Springs in particular had a reputation for being very difficult to do business in. Actually, Southeast Colorado really did. Closed off, less than sophisticated, very difficult to navigate the process of starting a business, whether it's permitting, infield, greenfield, any of that stuff. It was perceived to be, and often experienced to be, very difficult to do business in. In the last 12 years, I would say, and in particular the last 5 to 7 years, we have filled a lot of those gaps tremendously. So we've improved. We have a city navigator to help you get permitting and things like that through the city of Colorado Springs. They can help you identify enterprise zones. In other communities throughout Southeast Colorado, whether it's Canyon City or Pueblo, Trinidad, they're also following the same suit. They're trying to help businesses not only grow there, but sustain, okay? They have, maybe they've started a shop and they want to take it to the next level. They're ready for stage two, a higher level of investment, annual revenues of over $1 million. And so they need more sophisticated help, HR resources, workforce resources, maybe even occupying a building, okay, buying their first building or even building their first building. They need help with all that stuff. And they didn't have it before. Whereas today we've streamlined that process, especially at the city level. And now we have a very strong EDC. They are talking about Colorado Springs on levels not formally heard before.
That's Economic Development Center?
Corporation.
Corporation, okay. Let's talk about media and the proper use of media. When you are sitting with clients, prospective clients, what are the mistakes that people make? How do you guide them for a proper use of media?
Absolutely. This is very common among businesses. I call it narcissistic marketing, right? I want you to know all about me, and therefore you will believe that you need me. Okay. Not necessarily the truth. I mean, a need has to meet a provision. And most businesses are too hyper-focused on sending their message out rather than trying to create relation or a straight line between their message and their value proposition and what the consumer might need and how they need it. So, in advertising, timing is everything, right? You're playing a law of averages. But you will outperform your counterparts when you start talking about your clients' needs rather than your own as a business.
And how do you, when you're recommending to businesses about different types of media, of course you're selling the one that you have, but
Sure.
but also we don't we want to advise our clients well.
Mm-hmm.
How do you balance that? How do you analyze with a business and say this is where we think you should put your money, where your message is best communicated?
Yeah, so I mean, we look at a business operator or owner or business leader's core need at that particular point, because we can come in as salespeople, for example, and say we think you need X, Y, and Z, and we can amplify your message, and we can put you in front of 50,000 listeners, like on this show, right? So, okay. But are those the 50,000 listeners I need? Or do I need somebody else in another category, another segment of the population, another buying group? They may not exist on one station or another. They may not exist in a particular newspaper or outlet. So you have to go where your target audience is going for resources. There's a lot of digital play right now. And the one thing we've done is added a tremendous amount of digital, whether it's over the top, buying into major platforms like Hulu and Peacock and other streaming devices. And our advertisers are seeing tremendous amount of influx in inquiry because they're focused on platforms where their audience is actually located rather than just a shotgun approach.
Okay, we have about a minute and a half left. Business outlook overall for our region across all sectors. Are you bullish? What are you concerned about?
I'm very bullish, and I'll tell you why. I think we're going to get past this Space Command discussion pretty quick. The folks in Alabama have done a great job lobbying. The folks in Colorado are picking up a head of steam, and they're getting their message prepared to make sure that we're having an informed discussion with President Trump and the Armed Services Committee. And I think once we can get back focused to do what we do well here, which is that Space Command, that Space Force, those advanced industries that I've been talking about throughout the program, I think once we settle down on that discussion, I think you're going to see a lot more companies plug into this region.
ColoradoMediaGroup.com is the website. When people go there, what are they going to find? What are they going to find there?
Well, they're going to find access to North, but you can subscribe to all our publications and all our digital releases on ColoradoMediaGroup.com/subscribe.
And name them all again for the people.
It's
it's like naming your children.
Yeah,
Okay, we got a test right now.
So we have a business-to-consumer realm called North and True North. So North is the publishing arm, True North is the radio arm. In the business side, or the B2B realm, we have the Business Digest weekly, monthly, and then the Business Digest weekly here on AM 1460, and then Business First Look on KKTV. So we do a business news segment on television as well.
And Dirk's show actually airs on Friday. He gives me a break, lets
I
me
do.
take Friday off. He's here 3 to 4 p.m. here on The Answer, and also on the weekends. It's playing when?
True North is at 8 o'clock on Saturday mornings.
Saturday mornings here on The Answer. Well, we're spending this hour with Dirk Hobbs, founder of Colorado Media Group. Again, the website is coloradomediagroup.com. When we come back, since it's the holidays, we're saying shop local, hyper local for the holidays and always. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to The Peak, and we'll be right back.
I like your music selection.
You like it?
Huh?
You like it?
Yeah.
We keep it.
I run Dirty Laundry as well.
Do you?
Yeah, but the others are fresh. Those are good.
Thanks.
You have 4 minutes and 50 seconds, and
And what's Jim's
Jim
rant
is
about?
talking about how it was easier to run a business back in the day. And we're going
Okay.
to get back to that.
Okay. Back in the day. Okay, and 450. Okay. So on this one, I have to throw to a pre-record
Got
with
it.
Jim, so we're not going to hear music. So when it's
Will we
ready,
hear him?
we will, but I have to throw to him
Yeah.
first. So, but I'm just saying, when it's time to wrap up, we got to wrap up on this
We'll
one.
bund it up.
There's no warning track
I'll keep
on
it.
this one.
I'll keep it close.
Yeah, he's my Andy Rooney. I mean, you know Jim? Yeah. He's. I saw him during the mayoral debates and forums, and I was like, this guy's radio gold. I got to get this guy on. So when we were getting close to getting the Peak on the air a year ago, I went to him and I'm like, I'd like you to host this where we're gonna have people that'll like call into a phone line and leave rants, and you'll do one a week. And he's like, boss, I could do. I got all these in me, and he's been doing them 4 a week. Yeah, and
Is he pre-recorded?
yeah, he comes in and does like a bank of them. And at the beginning, I tried to like man it, like I tried, you have to figure out with everybody, and I overproduced him and he couldn't function. So we just sort of let him go.
Yeah.
Sometimes we got to cut it down. He's been good with no, F-bombs, but we don't put him on live very often. But he's everybody on Facebook's like, but it's Jim. I mean, he's not a believer, but he's a conservative, and he's unfiltered, and he's just this real guy, and it's just perfect for this, and to add some humor and some sarcasm, a little bit of grouchiness, like Andy Rooney at the end of the segment. And at some point we may,
Mark Levin.
right, or Mark Levin is screaming all the time.
That's right, I said it.
Yeah, but but I just heard him once. I'm Jim Miller. I'm just a guy, and I'm like, oh man, this is perfect. And he really wants to hone his craft. Like he Matt, he just subbed in for Matt's car show because Matt was out, and he likes being around. It's been a really good relationship.
Matt
over the
back
past
yet?
year. I don't think so. I haven't seen him. Okay, we're back in 30. Okay. So this is about a 4.5 minute segment. Okay, so we'll have like
Probably 2 minutes.
2 questions. Yeah, we'll have like the why and the what, basically. Okay.
Radio.
Welcome back to the Peak News. And you like Elvis Costello?
I do.
Eric? It's good. That's a classic there.
Been a lot.
Yes, you better do what you were told. You better listen to the radio. But no, don't do what you're told. Think for yourself. But we want to suggest in this final segment here with Dirk Hobbs, founder of Colorado Media Group and host of the Southern Colorado Business Forum and Digest radio program here on this network, the importance of shopping locally and what that actually means, because there's a lot of local big businesses here. But as you go out in this holiday season and consider, we're all trying to get a bargain, but there might be more of a long-term outreach and outlook in order to keep the money here locally, which is what happens when you spend with local business owners. So what's your pitch on this, Dirk, for shopping locally now during the holidays, especially as people spend a ton of money now and always?
Yeah, I mean, having Amazon in the background for last minute gifts is wonderful. Nobody
Wait a
wants
minute, Amazon is a local business.
Yeah, it's a local
Come on,
distribution center, yes. A lot of those trucks pass us right by. But, you know, shopping local is more than a slogan. It's actually an economic message to everybody. When you support, you know, a lot of people say, well, you know, I want more restaurants, or I want more infrastructure, or I want more police or fire or whatever it might be. Okay? Those things cost money. And when you spend your dollars here, your prime dollars here, that tax revenue goes into the kitty. Okay? Now we can either send it over online and it doesn't hit our balance sheet, or we can do it locally. So the retailers, the restaurants, the bars, all the little knick-knack stores, even some of the bigger outlets, a portion of those revenues will stay here. You know, we passed a separate bill, repassed 2C, as you're familiar with, right? I mean, the work done with that tiny bit of money is absolutely phenomenal. You know, it's like 10 cents for every $10 or something like that. It's minuscule. So that's the same thing I would apply every time you're considering going online and purchasing something is, can I get it locally? There's interpersonal relationships that developed. You get out and see your community. Yes, I get it. There's times when you want to go online and send something to mom who's across the country and you're 10 days out from Christmas and not sure if it's going to get there. Got it. Amazon.com. But for everything else, shop local.
And what do you say to people, because it's hard, especially the way the economy's been. You know, people want to save money, and generally these bigger places, you do that. How do you flip that switch in your in your brain about thinking about community more than your family's necessarily bottom line that week or that month?
Well, I appreciate that too. I mean, let's be practical, right? I mean, if you're on a wire-tight budget, then you need to do what's right for your family. But a lot of these retailers locally will find ways to meet you, and they'll find solutions that you can afford here for the same price, if not a percentage or two higher or lower than you can online.
And be willing to be a little bit higher, because you understand about margins and things like that people need to cover. But that is a very good point. You can actually talk to your local business person, and you can, you know, I know not barter, but you know, negotiating within business is not something that people think about in retail. But I'm Jewish, and we always think I can say we always do that everything's negotiable, because people want business,
Right.
and they would rather take that dollar than it going somewhere else. And so I'm not saying to be cheap, but let's work with each other as neighbors. Let's work with each other as, you know, local people, and let's try to keep the money here at home. We got like 10 seconds.
I'll say one more thing, purpose-driven businesses. If you want money, some of that money that you spend there to go towards a cause locally, a lot of businesses here in this region do that.
That too. Okay, you've been listening to Dirk Hobbs, founder of Colorado Media Group. Go to coloradomediagroup.com for more information. Dirk, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for being on the Peak.
Thank you for having me.
And now we have Jim Miller, Just a Guy, and the Peak Rants. And today, Jim is pining for an earlier time when business was easier. A little different perspective than yours.
That's interesting take.
But that's, you know,
It's almost a counterpoint to my discussion.
well, it is. But, you know, this is from the guy who's, you know, trying to run 5, 6, 7, you know, small businesses.
What's he do?
He has a garage, he does mechanic stuff, he has a vending business.
He's
What
right
else does
about
he do?
licensure and things like that. But
It's just the bleeding out,
It's
you
just
know,
the bleeding out.
bleeding out of all the taxes and fees and the difficulty. And, you know, he's also a veteran, so he gets into, you know, trying to get support from, which is, you know, overall okay, but anyway,
what's his
He's-
name?
Jim Miller,
Jim Miller.
just a guy. So,
Just a guy.
that was his whole mayoral thing. I'm Jim Miller, I'm just a guy, I don't know a lot, but I'll get some good people around me. But he was a single issue candidate because he had in his family involved with like pedophile, like got sexually abused, and then like 4 sex offenders moved into a house like next door to him.
Right.
And so he went on, that was his big thing. He has a punch a pedophile campaign, that's his thing. Just getting all the, you know, the criminal elements that are dangerous away from the schools, away from the churches, identified, you know, and not having them become the victims that are taken care of and released early, and everybody, you know, sort of feels sorry for them because they have difficulties, but meanwhile they're, you know, ruining people's lives with their actions. So that's his big thing, and that's why he decided to run. But he got pretty educated, and it was interesting. And
Did he compete?
yeah, I mean, he got like a lot. He got the least number of votes. I think he got like, you know, 3 or 4%. But it was so split with the 12 candidates that getting 5%, 6%, 7% was like a big deal.
Okay. Fair enough.
So, you know, we got to avoid that with the 10 conservative candidates.
Indeed.
You know, but
So, on the Emmy story, are you getting pretty good stuff?
we're I mean, stuff that, yeah, I think it's I think, well, people on Facebook, I think there's a lot more to this. I don't think that it's going to go away. I think it's a bigger story, and one of the big stories is how the media isn't covering it. I mean, they're trying to they're either trying to ignore it, or they're actually attacking the Daily Wire. It's like, that's not journalism. Get answers.
Get answers.
Is he innocent? Clear the man's name. If he's not,
That's
you know,
right.
hold him accountable. Be the media. Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Peak. We really, really want you to be part of this. I know the media seems exclusive. It seems like something that you can't touch. It's too expensive. You got to have all this schooling and everything. No, you know what good journalism is getting answers, hitting the streets and getting answers. And I'm seeing people that are working with us, interns that we have here, that I think are hustling more than a lot of reporters that we have in this town. And I would just say to everybody who's a reporter in this town, up your game. We have a city that needs this transparency. It needs what the media is supposed to provide. We can't be filled with special interests. We can't. You know, Dirk has business, and thanks again, Dirk, for being here on The Peak.
My pleasure.
It's
Thank
great to
you.
hear. Dirk has a business magazine. That's different. That's a different thing than something that is covering everything with news, with hard news and investigative journalism. We need to do this, and we want you to help. So go to thepeak.news and join us in some capacity. We actually have a lot of interns down here now. Seth's on the board right now. He's waving to me. He's getting to run the board. High school student running the board for a broadcast radio show. How cool is that? We love providing opportunities like that. And I want to thank our platinum sponsor, Springs Dentist, and Dr. Craig Summer, who's been with us since before the beginning. Good friends. Our family dentist, just had my teeth cleaned there last week. Craig Summer, Holistic Dentistry in Colorado Springs. Check out Springs Dentist. Well, we air Monday through Thursday, 3 to 4. Tomorrow is Government and Politics Day, and we'll be saying the quiet stuff out loud with local election integrity and cybersecurity and forensic elections expert Mark Cook. And on Wednesday, we have Peak investigative journalist Jordan Baldwin back covering this Mayor Yemi hate crime hoax story, and based on a Daily Wire article, more information that we have for you. Now stay tuned for the Larry Elder Show coming up next year on The Answer. And until tomorrow, check out our 150 plus podcast on thepeak.news. The Peak, we say the quiet stuff out loud, and with you, we'll say it even louder for such a time as this. Shalom.
Very good.
Thank you, Dirk.
Thank you, man. You did it.
Appreciate it. Yep,
Got
we
through
did it. Now I got to flow into the next show. So we'll let you know
Oh, you got
about the
another one?
podcast. I do crosswalk
Oh, that's right.
on Mondays.
You got a downshift.
It's my show. So, well, we're actually, interestingly enough, I decided that I wanted to do a show